So, New Year's.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Near.
Feel like we're all still pretty tired from the holiday season. I don't know, maybe I am. Nothing happened though.
I was just gonna say how thrilled I am that nothing critical happened over the holidays. I think that's just such a nice gift that hackers gave this year. They're so considerate.
So nice. So nice.
We want Christmas off too.
What?
I said we want the holidays off too.
Oh.
Yeah.
We need a break sometimes.
One day we'll figure out how to start this podcast. Usually I think we just start this like maybe 4 or 5 times, and then we let Rodrigo pick whichever one is the best. And he goes, we'll start here. If it's a short episode, it's a short episode.
W, this is your chance to publicly make your first statement with the new hair. Is there anything you'd like to say? Public commentary?
Oh, yeah. I can feel wind on my neck now, which is awesome. You don't realize how much you miss it until it's always just blocked out. So that was pretty nice. Thanks for calling it out. Anyways, you guys got any like good New Year's resolutions this year? Man, are we that not ambitious? We're just like
75 hard challenge. No drinking, no eating for 75 days.
Good. Well, it's not gonna work. It says CISSP, which done. OSCP by March, taking the LSAT in June. Then I'm gonna crush it all in sales.
Dude, you ain't gonna crush shit in sales, dude. Telling you, dog.
So
I'm planning on hitting the conference circuit again this year. Had a good ending to last year. Hopefully I can replicate 2022. Travel to some fun places.
Yeah, you think you're gonna try to put in a CFP for that Italian one?
So I did MolCon in the fall. That was Turn. That was fun. I could do that again. Maybe Berlin Offensive Con. Maybe like Typhoon Con in Seoul. A couple good destinations. So we'll see. Back in Paris. That's in the fall.
I don't know. I'd like to probably produce more content for the for this blog that we have. I feel like I started off pretty strong, and then it was like new. But I have
PowerShell one was a good one.
PowerShell one was a fun one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So after everyone admitted to a New Year's resolution, what's your thing there, Alex? What you got going on?
Oh, what's my New Year's resolution?
Yeah. You don't get to escape from this.
I mean, I just call them goals. Like I need to get my OSCP too.
Let's go.
And I need to find some speaking engagements.
You were talking about goals, talking about the resolutions, I guess, for the year. I definitely want to speak at a couple of conferences this year, so I'm starting to getting some topics up. Tossing up a few. One of them pretty relevant in the incident response and preparedness space for the whole FAA and Royal Mail conversations. Just overall readiness, we'll say. So I got that one in. David and I are working on some research, and hopefully hoping to be able to use that this year.
Yeah, that's been interesting.
That's your
the little
your
phone
Goodwill
project. Yeah,
that looks super cool. I'm pumped to see what you guys come out with.
Don't say too much about it.
Yeah,
that's all I.
I will say though, like this has been like the coolest hardware hacking research project I've ever done. Like I did a bunch of stuff with like the VoIP phones, the Avayas and the Cisco phones, and like hijacking that firmware. But like, just doing it on phones is just so much different, right? It just hits so much different.
So I was watching this week. CES took place in Vegas, and they were interviewing the CEO of CrowdStrike about what he foresees in this new year. It was interesting what they asked him about kind of the economic headwinds that the United States and I guess globally we might be facing with inflation and post-COVID and the Ukraine war and all these factors, and about how CrowdStrike is going to be affected by kind of this decrease in discretionary spending, because security, in some small, medium-sized, even large organizations, when spending needs to get cut or there's a recession, security sometimes is the first to go. So we'll talk about kind of the ransomware attacks we've seen this week. What do you guys think is going to happen for really the first time, I guess, since 2008, where we might face a recession? Do you think security is a better place now than in 2008? Do you think companies are still going to be looking to cut security in this new year?
Man, I'll jump on that grenade. We could have a long conversation about this. I think they're going to slash the hell out of it, because the prevalence of it has gone way up, but it's also seen as a business expense, whereas it should be looked at as an insurance policy. So it's easy to cut a business expense. It's hard to cut an insurance policy. And the perception is that we have to do this, and I don't want to pay our IT guys, and I don't want to pay for third-party pen tests, and it's expensive. So it's seen as this big business expense instead of being looked at as, if I don't do this, I am not protecting my IP, my intellectual property rights. I'm rolling the dice on that. So a lot of people look at it as a business expense, where I think a lot of us in the field look at it as, we're an insurance policy for you. And then couple that with, and you'll probably bump into this if you're doing your CISP thing this year, a lot of the recommendations are now, don't get third-party pen tests done. Have your internal teams do what they got to do, fix those things, but anything that's third-party is discoverable. So you want to go out and get a loan for your company, you want to go out and sell your company, any of those third-party pen tests are discoverable, so they're just going, don't do that. So that I don't think is the right answer, because now you're just saying I'd rather not defend my network, my intellectual property rights. I'd rather roll the dice, because in 2 years I'm going to leave this company anyway, and it's not my problem anymore. But I think we're going to see potentially a downtick in the amount of stuff that third-party pen testing is going to be doing, because of those couple of reasons.
This is the first that I've heard. Advice not to do third-party pen tests. That's really interesting to me.
It's horrible.
Where are we hearing? Who's saying that?
So, first time I heard it was actually from my boss, who was watching a bunch of his CEUs to maintain his CISP. And one of the guys on there was like, "Hey, don't do this. This is why." And the big push was because it's all discoverable, and it's going to cost you money. We've seen some kind of questionable behavior as far as report deliveries and who they deliver them to. So it was not discoverable for that exact reason in the past. Yeah, I think we're going to start seeing more and more of that. Have your internal guys do their assessments and then fix those things, but minimize your third-party pen testing, because any of those reports that are delivered are then discoverable.
Meanwhile, Salesforce and Stripe and some of these other tech companies laid off privacy engineers, OffSec folks, IT past 2 weeks. So internal headcount is already decreasing.
Yeah, which is going to compound itself as a problem, because one, where are those guys going to go? Where's that skill set going to end up? Hopefully somewhere else.
Sure.
But, you take too many people's livelihood away, and they're going to start doing the same thing for somebody else, themselves, whatever. That's going to be a compounding issue. That's my prediction there for the next 3 to 5, is that you're going to start seeing more and larger IT security breach problems coming up.
Yeah, I agree with that. We see an increase every year, and I don't know when that's going to change. If we're not investing in security measures, then it's not going to change anytime soon. I'm still
APT, Big Daddy. What are your thoughts?
Now, I'm just trying to think if it's more of like a company issue, like an individual company culture kind of issue, or if it's a market-wide issue, right? Because I feel like with private companies, it doesn't matter as much about the discovery, right? Whereas public, that can affect stock prices and all that other jazz. So I'm just trying to process it through my head right now because it's a little slow today, but that's kind of what I'm thinking on.
It's also a short-term, long-term thing, right? Because you have, let's say a company decides to cut back on their CrowdStrike deployments or, their long-term contract. They're just going to end up having that hole, and then it's going to be plugged by a need for a larger incident response retainer later, right? It's just about kind of expense now, expense later, and like you said, stock price versus private company, right?
I think that's part of why, and we've talked about this in the past, the disconnect between blue team, red team, and even GRC. I think this is a perfect example of why we need to have pretty solid communication, because a lot of the time it's your GRC folks that are going to be able to translate those numbers and risk into the things that the C-level will care about, where we're getting the actual money for these third-party pen tests. A lot of times they come out of framework assessments, and they come out of recommendations from the people who can translate the technical into the non-technical. But if you're not having those talks between the teams, then you're not really getting the full effect, and you're not really going to be able to best secure the company.
Are companies thinking about that? Like, if we cut back X number of like CrowdStrike instances, like we're looking at Y% increase of risk, or like how are large organizations kind of going through that thought process?
I think some are, right? You have to probably credit some of the CISOs and CIOs out there that are thinking about this, but it's a matter of, okay, we understand, but we have to accept the risk because we're not going to pay as much, right? Or your budget gets slashed for something, just because it's looked at as an unnecessary expense, right? It's the World War II plane problem, the bomber problem. They tried to protect the bombers based off of what was coming back, not what wasn't coming back, right? I don't remember what the experiment or the...
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it, but they were basically saying, well, of all the planes that come home, most of the bullet holes are in these places, so we need to reinforce those places. Whereas if you actually think about it, the ones that are coming home didn't get shot down. Meaning if we get shot in these other places, they hit the dirt. It's not a survivorship bias. I can't remember what it is. But yeah, there was one dude. It was like, it was a British guy who was like, yo, think about this for a second. Those holes are survivable. What about the ones that are on the ground? Those holes probably weren't.
So I think some of that kind of mentality comes into like how CFOs and CEOs are deciding spending, right? They're like, oh, well, we haven't been hacked like Target. We're fine. And then they start dialing back until it happens, and then you got a CISO's lying, ends up in jail, Long stretch, but I'm still going to hit that symbol.
What happened with Royal Mail? Because I only know bits and pieces.
Are you talking the ransomware situation?
Yeah.
I don't know, but I know that The Guardian also got hit with ransomware recently.
I did see that.
I didn't look at
interesting timing with the whole downing of planes in the United States, and then that happens in the same 48-hour period. I know Biden has spoken out and said, the FAA thing wasn't a cyber attack. Someone deleted some database file by accident, but the timing of it is certainly coincidental.
But is that not terrifying that a small mistake like that, let's say that it is actually a small mistake and that this isn't intentional, is it not terrifying that you have a single point of failure like that can cripple an entire, one of the world's largest economies in an instant?
Yeah, what was it? 17,000 flights were delayed or something like that, with 3,000 being canceled. That's an insane amount of. I think that the average is not even like a quarter of that.
Certainly instills confidence in the enemy. All we have to do is delete one database file and we can ground the entire country.
Yeah. But I mean, the same could probably be said about like most of our utility and ICS.
True.
Like, I mean, all it takes to knock out the power grid around here in North Carolina is just shoot up a substation, and then they're out for like a week and a half. So
We're gonna wait for it to rain really hard.
yeah, yeah, right. Just rains, floods everything. Up, okay. But no, it is pretty dangerous. Like as far as like when it comes down to like air travel, right? If you have to cancel every flight or delay every flight, think about hospital transfers and I don't know, military situations where you're overground. Like if you can ground your entire, well, I would hope the military would have a backup, but there's a definite chance. Not being in the military, there's a definite chance there's no actual backup.
We'll reach out to them for comment and we'll get back to you.
Yo, hit us up, Sarge.
Or
Give
all
us the
the
download.
athletes that are going to see their mistresses, or like Elon Musk. You know,
Shout
I
out
feel-
to athletes.
Yeah, I'm just like worried about the athletes and Elon Musk.
Well, no, it'd be great for Elon because now no one's tracking his plane.
True. For 1 hour,
Yeah,
just sitting there.
You
he's
get
like,
one
finally,
hour
finally, freedom,
relief.
Hour rest.
quietness.
It was that awesome DEF CON talk this past year where this like guy was just like, I'm gonna go ahead and track every single military helicopter that's flying over DC.
I do not
He just
remember
did it
this.
himself. Yeah. He just
Look-
like open sourced. He created like a Twitter account and just had people write in like if they look up and see a helicopter, like try and look at the tail number and just tweet it. And then he just aggregated like 20,000 data points of where every helicopter was in DC, like Coast Guard, FBI, Homeland Security, and he had like an entire map of accounting for like every helicopter's movement over the past however long he had that accounted for.
Did somebody try to steal the Declaration of Independence? I feel like that's the effort you go through to like not have that tied to you.
True.
I think the what was the name of the system that was affected by the FAA deletion? It was NO
Aero.
noticed NOTMAS.
Witnessed it go down before. Like not all the flights were grounded, but I was in an airport once. And they were doing like they had to get a printed manifesto of passengers and just scratch off names as they boarded.
It was the NOTAM,
Manifest.
is what you're
It was
thinking.
NOTAM, yes. So that's what it was.
The
I'm
Notice to
looking-
Air mission system
Mm.
to like tell people, here's how what is it, IFR, you know, what's your altitude at level and headwind and all that, or heading and all that jazz. Makes sense.
But-
You don't want people crashing in the air.
Well, so you can go there and you
Shout
can
out Boeing.
search. You can search information, like you just search information on your local airport, which I didn't realize. But I was thinking about this from a hacker perspective of how many people didn't know it existed, and now knowing that it is so vulnerable, or at least it can have that level of impact. Is this not a target now?
I would say probably is a target, but also you have to think about the level of protection that's now going to get set up around that because of how
You would
critical it is to the national infrastructure. Right?
Hope.
Like, yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
Hope is a good word, but
You guys were saying some sysad deleted something on accident, right?
yeah, deleted
Yeah.
a database
Yeah.
file.
That's the rumor.
So it wasn't an attack. It
No.
was a mistake. I would assume that if you were to try to make that mistake into an attack, it would be substantially difficult. I would hope that maybe we'd put some checks in place that you can't delete that file so that mistake doesn't happen again. But I think anybody that wanted to attack an aviation system probably would have already known about that. Like, if you're going in to disrupt a nation's airspace. That's the kind of thing you know about ahead of time. So I don't think it's going to increase the attack probability, and I think it'll probably decrease the attack surface.
I don't know,
And
man.
hopefully
Iran
it
might
will
be
decrease
mad about all those
the
sanctions,
ability-
right?
Yeah. I'm not allowed to talk about that on the internet anymore.
Well, I know like private airlines like United has a red team. Like I've seen their job postings in the years past, and they're looking at like not just back end infrastructure of United, but like physical attacks, like kind of everything aero related. I think they're concerned about. I mean, Israel's what is it, El Al? Their national airline has like missile defense on on the bottom of all their planes.
I mean, to be fair, they probably have the biggest need for it, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
But I mean, you can go on
If anybody
flightstats.com
needs
right
chaff
now.
on all the wings, it's probably them now.
Yeah. Do you ever use flight stats where you can go on and see any airplanes like cruising altitude, speed, tail number of passengers? I mean,
We used a
down
little
to
bit of
like
it
the
during-
millimeter.
Yeah, so we used a little bit of it during the Afghan pullout. Trying
We
to
Well, we didn't use it, but the guys we were with were tracking stuff hard. And I don't know if it was that system or if it was, a comparable system. But yeah,
they gave a
they
pretty
were
real time update of where planes were in the map.
Yeah, we were watching transponders turn on and off. Like, oh yeah, this this AWACS just went dark. I wonder what they're going to do. Like we were just watching all kinds of stuff flick off transponders and disappear and reappear 4 hours later.
Who ultimately is responsible for this whole incident? Is it CISA? Is there a CISO attached to the FAA?
I would assume, but I also don't think that people would assume that somebody would actually delete the database file, right? Like,
Sure.
they're probably like, we all know this is a pretty problematic file. Let's not fuck with it. And then the new guy comes in. They're like, hey, new guy, can you do maintenance? And he's the one who fucks it up.
Can you clear up some space on that server? Yeah, this database is fucking huge.
Dude, why do we have all these backups? Control Shift Delete. Yo, I was getting this report on my net app. It was telling me we had way too much space. Delete.
Tune in next week. We're going to be interviewing that guy. We're going to get to the bottom of
Could you imagine? That'd be like a great podcast, just like of people who
Legendary.
have admittedly like fucked up. They're like, look, dude, I understand I fucked up. Here's how I would have fucked up differently. Like, I think
if there
that'd
was
be
ever a
good
podcast
This is like
designed
that-
for a guy like that, or gal, it would be the Cyber Idiots.
Yeah.
It would be cathartic for them.
Look, it wouldn't
Yeah, whoever
necessarily
you are,
be like,
this-
security related, but it would definitely be cyber related.
Whoever
if
you
anyone
are,
watching has cyber malfeasances that they've committed, come on, this is the place to let it out.
hit us
It's
up.
like that O.J. Simpson book, If I Did It. I didn't, but if I did.
He did a podcast interview recently. Did you see that?
No.
What?
Yeah, he did a podcast and they asked him if he's still looking for the real killer, and he's like, I'm just not gonna comment on that.
When
Didn't
did he
say
get
something
back
like
out of jail?
Years ago,
Oh,
he
man.
had the Vegas what was it, like robbery sports memorabilia incident, but he's been out for a while.
He's been a clean boy ever since, huh?
All of most 5 years.
Yeah.
Well, please keep calling him a clean boy.
Listen, if we want to get OJ on here, that's what we got to do. We got to win him over.
That would be the best podcast guest. So if you were to hack a building, how would you go about it?
That one dog, gloves.
I am claiming OJ the clean boy on Reddit right now. That's mine.
OJ the clean boy. Oh, that's a great hacker name too. Could you imagine
Like a
somebody like
Good
signing their
physical pen
malware?
tester.
They're just signing their malware, OJ the clean boy.
It's available. I'm taking it.
Oh
Let's go.
shit. Well played. Well played.
this week there was also this like Russian malware group that they a ransomware group, I think it's like Cold Fox or something, and they like unmasked like who was behind it, and it was just this like Russian bodybuilder who had this like whole persona online of just him in the gym just like flexing in mirrors and wherever the hell he is.
Like a TikTok god, and that's
yeah. One of these like fitness influencers.
And that's who they say was running it, or
yeah. He was like a day by day he worked in IT, and then at night he was fitness influencing and ransoming like major corporations.
shit, man, you have to make up that extra funds that you were losing out on the $7 from TikTok.
Yeah,
Fucking friend's expensive.
Shit, yeah, it's always funny when you find these stories where the people who are getting caught are like the least expectant, right? Like you would assume somebody like Alex or myself to definitely be on like one of those lists that gets caught, but you wouldn't expect like the bodybuilder or the 16-year-old high school students that are just fucking around. Like the wasn't it the GTA hack was like a 16-year-old?
Oh yeah, he was a younger guy.
yeah. I mean, look at North Korea. They pull folks from like Chinese CTFs. They're just like, you performed well. You want to come over to the dark side? That's literally what they do. They go to these CTFs and they just like pluck folks that they like and are willing to come over.
Smart idea. I mean, if it pays well, right? Hopefully.
They get a cut of
I'm
all
not sure that
Bitcoin
they
stolen.
ask them either. They,
Hopefully,
I don't think their society is set
food
up to get a big cut of anything.
I mean, they're the ones who were responsible for that Bangladesh bank heist, right? The $1 billion bank heist.
That was a cool story.
It's a dope story. But it's even cooler how they found them, right? Like how they traced everything back, like congregated all the logs and then found all the faces of the people. Like it was a wild investigation. I totally forgot what I was talking about. Not gonna lie.
It started with OJ, and then it
OJ the clean boy, yeah.
OJ the clean boy.
He's a clean boy. That's gonna be my rap name.
You can't say
I
it
think
like
it's funny
you're
when
5
he's,
years old. That's gonna be my rap name.
Don't you think it's funny when you read a news story about a hack or a breach or, you know, some like federal indictment, and like the hackers are taking every step to be covert and lateral movement and all this stuff, and then they put like their real name in like the Word doc macro that they used as the dropper, and it's like, dude, come on, man. It's just step one of OPSEC. Delete the Word macro with your full legal name.
Yeah.
I had to register the product so I could save a file, me.
What else are we tracking in 2023? Where's malware going? What else is going on in the world? What should we be on the lookout for?
I read a post on LinkedIn the other day about, I don't remember who it was now, but they had dropped ransomware on a PLC. That was like, it was the first time that they had done it on this team. I don't know how common that is. I don't know PLCs enough. My understanding from the work that I have done in OT is that most PLCs are not, I don't want to say not advanced enough, but they're more difficult to drop ransomware on. So I was just interested in the article. I don't know if you guys have any experience with it.
Kind of a interesting idea, right? Like most companies, they'd be like, all right, fuck it. We only got X amount of 300 computers, but their PLCs could double or triple that depending on how much machinery they got in there, right?
Yeah.
Spending more time currently on the IoT side of things.
Nice.
I'm just gonna wave him in front of him again, so he has to look at the one you got and he's still waiting on.
I'm about to email them back. And then I'm going to email Sam's threat. Hey, I've got that one at least.
That hit the rest of the 7 viewers that we still have.
I'm excited for that to see what other research comes out in 2023, because this will be the first, like last year was the first full year of people using the Flipper. I know I utilized it in my research. I'm excited to see what DEF CON talks use Flipper.
Yeah, that'll be cool. I'm excited for DEF CON. It's like 8 months away, and I'm already excited.
Is there an OT village, or is it just IoT village? Like where
I think it's just IoT, but they share the
IoT,
space.
but OTs. That stuff's cool. All that power line and voting machines, and
Oh
that
yeah,
stuff's like real niche, but it's cool.
I had a really cool time at the biohacking village last year.
Did you take
If
the
you guys
implant? I
remember.
don't remember if you did.
No, it was I mean, a bunch of medical providers had some of their equipment there that you had an opportunity to interact with, and that was pretty interesting. I've been thinking about getting one of those RFID implants, though.
So you could be tracked by the government? Like, you're just making it easier for them, dog.
All right, Dale.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
When I
Rusty Shackelford.
when I first met the current red team I work on, there was like a whole bunch of folks gathered around this one colleague of mine, like tapping their flippers against his hand because he had the NFC chip in there.
Yeah, I've been thinking about it. It seems pretty non-invasive. With a Proxmark, you can pretty much change whatever's on it.
What's the real
Yeah.
purpose other than like payment? If you get lost in the woods, someone can scan you and find out who you are.
So you can
Yeah, I
tell
mean,
them
I
you're
think
from
the
the year
big things
3000.
are like you can put you can set it up to as a biometric essentially. So I mean, you can use it to get into a house. You can use it, same as you have an RFID to get into a building. Your building, you can make your hand the RFID.
That's
it's
actually
involved.
another 2023 question. Are we going to see an increase in biometrics being used? Because last year was kind of the year like the IRS tried to first roll out their like facial recognition login. All these people were like, oh, I can't log in because my face is being shared. And then they had to go back to passwords. Like, is this the year finally where we're going to see kind of greater mass adoption of those types of technologies? Because it's been kind of a slow burn thus far, I think. Obviously, our phones have the fingerprints, but beyond that.
Yeah, maybe. Right? I think people are used to it because of the phone, and some laptops will allow you to do it as well. I know Windows has that, what is it, Windows Hello or something like that, which is an AD biometric logon.
Okay.
And that's pretty neat. But, I think as more people adopt it, it's just going to end up being developed in a way that's insecure. Right, somebody's going to be like, "Hey, we're going to use this as our standard way of authenticating between other vendors," and we'll see some of those bigger issues. Just because we have too many dumb devs. Sorry.
Is this the year
I
we're
don't
going?
even think it's dumb. We have too many devs who are focused on cranking out a product because that's what they're being made to do. And I'm sure you guys have seen it. Have you talked to developers that are like building a product that you're testing and you're like, hey, I did this and everything caught fire. And they're like, ooh, I didn't even think about that. Like it's not a world that crosses their mind very often. So they're not dumb. They're doing their job. But their job is to generate a tool. And my job is to, put a welding torch to it and bend it sideways so it does something different. And it's not forefront of their mind. Also, I'm getting weird echo. Am I getting...
I think you're good.
Anybody else? Cool. Ignore it. Got it.
I mean, my org right now, I think they have an interesting approach. Like each team of developers has, I forget the term, like a security guardian, or like there's a developer who's kind of like has that security focus or is paying attention to that part, which is smart to have. Or orgs that, pay for OSWE vouchers and that type of thing. Hopefully orgs continue to push that in 2023.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're gonna turn off all of us pen testers, you better make sure your shit's locked
Train your
up.
devs. Yeah.
Because if there's not somebody checking it, it better be built right the first time.
Do we have any
yeah.
closing thoughts, other things we're looking forward to 2023, messages for the audience, 75-day challenges we should be doing?
I do want to drop some Hawaiian shirt merch this year. That'd be pretty dope.
Are we gonna submit something for the DEF CON badge?
Badges.
Banana
badge.
Banana badge.
Banana badge.
Or
What
we're
is
gonna
the
make our
solution?
own- It's gonna be so big. I can't wait.
We were talking that 15-pound PCB board.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
You
Maybe
have to
we
go
start with that in the
and-
call for ideas. Just get some initial feedback, and then we move it into the call for badge.
No, so in the call for badge, you just got to be like, all right, hear me out. Like
Hear me out.
10-pound PCB board shaped as a banana. How does that sound? Just end it. How many badges can you make? One.
That's right there
That's
is
the
my
black badge.
resolution for 2023. I'm starting every CFP with just hear me out. All right.
That's basically how we did ours for the
That's basically
talks
what it
that
is,
you and I
right?
gave.
Oh,
I was like, all right, so hold on, let me finish though. Here's what we got. And it worked a couple times.
yeah. The CFP for B-Side San Francisco is like, dudes, it sounds like a good idea, but I have no idea what you guys want to talk about. And we're like, all right, hear me out. And then we wrote it out in a ton of detail. And they go, okay, yeah, we're going to pick you up.
Yeah.
Which was weird. And then we
That was awesome.
outclassed the talent there.
No, we didn't.
Yeah, there was like somebody from Black Hills Security was talking. And I'm just going to say our talk was more packed.
That's our goal for 2023.
I think
We're
that's
just gonna
accurate.
outclass the competition.
Outclass all the fools.
We're gonna
Not
put OJ's
possible.
podcast to shame.
We're going to bring Joe Rogan and OJ in on the same podcast. I think they're hosting a podcast. Actually,
I
how
like that
dope,
message.
hear me out. How dope of a video would this be? I don't know if I
Fuck.
already said this once before.
It
Like,
started with hear me out, so it's gonna be a shit show. Let's go.
This is gonna be the closeout for the episode. W's final thought.
we got to do celebrity hack challenges, right? You get like The Rock Johnson and Terry Crews, and they get two of us as their like team partners, and we teach them everything in an hour, and then they have to go head to head in the hacking thing. And there's got to be some punishment. I don't know, tase them if they don't get the fucking point ahead. Whatever it would come up with. We won't tase them unless they're in that kind of stuff. But, you know, just have like a little challenge. I think that would be like the funniest thing to watch. Just normal people trying to figure out how to do our job in like 15 minutes or less. Because there's a lot of people out there
Not
who
the
just...
craziest idea. I mean, if we have MMA basketball, a celebrity hacking challenge is not like.
We have MMA basketball? Hold up.
Yeah, I saw a clip this week of MMA basketball. I was like, God damn, we're just making up things for people to waste their time on.
You ever been tased?
Yeah, it's not fun. It's we're not talking the shooter ready tase guns. We got to talk the little like turn on turn off kind of thing.
Yeah, the clickers.
I don't know. Terry Crews and The Rock are pretty big dudes. You know, they probably lift a lot of weight and be like, if you don't get the point, you got to do like 10 reps. So it's brain or bronze. Boom.
I
there
would
it
tune
goes.
in.
Brain or bronze. That's the episode.
Feels a little confrontational. Maybe we need to workshop that one a bit more.
Here for it.
Oh, so yeah, basketball, MMA, you're saying? Why don't you know, there's the Hack the Box. They're hosted out of Russia, right? They could probably get a
they're
battleground.
UK, hack the box.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
All right, can they
Yeah,
relocate
it is
to
a EU.
There's actually a difference between Ukraine and Russia. I don't know if you know that.
I mean,
Thanks.
most of the world knows that.
Thanks, Russ.
Another topic
Oh,
I'm not allowed to talk
folks.
about online.
Well, this was this week's episode. Why'd they start with this?
Oh, no. Last shout out for 2023. This year, we are going to be having on guests. So tune in hopefully every other week or maybe once a month for a new exciting guest who you know and is not an idiot.
Fair enough.
I like
That's
it.
the intro. Winner.
That's the intro.
I vote for that. or the outro.
Or the outro.
Or the outro.
But yeah, tune in for that. I'm excited. I think we're gonna have a pretty good lineup on.
We got Terry Crews to commit.